Hello, guys. Today I want to talk about being vulnerable and what it means to be vulnerable. Welcome to my channel. This is Ladybyrd-T, where we spill the tea. So come on in. Let's talk about it. Being vulnerable means being open to the possibility of being hurt or exposed, often emotionally, and it involves sharing your true self and feelings, even if it feels risky or uncomfortable. So, a lot of people don't like being vulnerable because of the hurt factor or because of having to show their true feelings, and it feels uncomfortable to be vulnerable. But vulnerability is, to me, an expression of love. And also, being vulnerable can cause emotional exposure. Vulnerability involves allowing others to see your true self. And a lot of people like to hide behind masks. They have a stone face, and you just can't tell what they're thinking. And it's because they don't like to show their true self to other people, including their weaknesses or their fears or their insecurities. So they wear a mask. It's risky and uncertain. The uncertainty about being vulnerable. A lot of people are not raised in vulnerable atmospheres, which to me is the same as loving atmosphere where they can allow their vulnerability to be shown. So they walk around with a straight face, and they learn to wear masks and hide their vulnerability, although they may feel a certain way. They're afraid to let uh, another person or the people around them to know their true feelings, because they are afraid of being hurt or the risks and the uncertainty that goes with it, being rejected or judged by others because of the way they feel. I want to let you know today that there's nothing wrong with being vulnerable. There's nothing wrong with opening your heart and expressing your true self, whether people like it or not. Um, openness and honesty to me is very important in any relationship. To be open, to be vulnerable, it requires you to be open and honest in a relationship about your thoughts, your feelings, your needs, and even when it's difficult. I mean, being vulnerable with your spouse or your partner or your significant other, you have to really open up and show your true feelings. You can't hide behind things. You can't hide behind arguments or disagreements, but you have to come with the open heart, ready to share, put it all out on the table, whether it hurts or not. And that's called building trust and connections with people. When you're being vulnerable, it can foster deeper connections because, um, you know, you're showing that other person that um, I can build trust by being open and honest with you. All right. So, to build trust in relationships, it requires authenticity, you to be authentic and understanding. Because if someone came to you when you're trying to be so open, so honest, so vulnerable, laying out all your true feelings to them, and then they're turn around and they're like, well, you didn't have to tell me that. It makes you want to take it back. So, I've learned in my relationships over time, it works for me being vulnerable, because I know if I'm open and honest that I've told my truth. And I think it's good when, it would be good if we could all be open and vulnerable. But I understand that some people don't even know what it means to be truly loved or vulnerable, or know how to accept a hug, or accept kindness, or accept gifts, or accept words that lend itself to openness or honesty. Some examples of vulnerability is sharing your emotions, your true emotions, or admitting mistakes when you're wrong, or asking for help. That's something that I have a hard time doing, is asking for help, because I've had to be so independent. I do have trouble in those areas, so I don't like to ask people for help. I'd rather work 3 jobs, or find other ways to get what I need, than asking people for help. And that's an area that I'm working on. Or express your needs are all examples of being vulnerable. So vulnerability in relationships. In relationships, being vulnerable can lead to greater intimacy and closeness, as it allows partners to connect on a deeper level. So when you're able to go into any relationships, exposing your emotional feelings, or allowing others to see your true self, your strengths, your weaknesses, your fears, and your insecurities. That's not a bad thing. There's nothing to hide, because you're being true not only to them, but you're being true to yourself. This is who I am. And you have to accept me for who I am. So I think it's a good thing, being vulnerable and taking risks, even when you're uncertain of how people are going to treat you. No one wants to feel rejected. God knows I always have felt rejected in my life, just for no reason, just for being me. But you always find a way to get through it, or feeling judged or hurt. That's why I, in my walk, try not to judge people, because you don't know what people are going through. You don't know what timeline they're in their life. So I just meet people where they're at, and love them where they're at. But being open and honest about things without having to tell untruths or lies about things it requires you to be vulnerable, because it requires you to be open about things that may hurt you, or may hurt the person that it involves. It's a difficult thing, but it's a necessary thing to be vulnerable. I believe moving in a deeper love in your relationship calls for trust. A lot of people have issues with trusting people because how people may have used them or abused them or wasn't honest to them, and so they have trust issues. But it doesn't mean that everybody's gonna be like that. It doesn't mean that everybody's gonna be unfaithful and not true and not honest. But building trust and building those connections, it just fosters deeper connections. It's a beautiful thing, being able to be your authentic self, someone loving and caring for you just the way you are. So don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Show your vulnerability. This is who I am. Some people are emotionalists. Some people don't show their emotions or express their emotions. And maybe that's some things that you have to work on is, being emotional and sharing your emotions with those that you love, admitting your mistakes, and asking for help. And that's one that I really, really have to work on, expressing your needs. And so all of those are examples of vulnerability. And I challenge you today to, open up, be vulnerable. The power of vulnerability. Brene Brown argues that vulnerability is a key to building strong relationships and living a meaningful life. It's just the way it is. You have to be open and honest and vulnerable with someone. And so, yeah, that's all I had to say today. That was on my heart, to express to my viewers that, being vulnerable, yes, it is a possibility of you being hurt, but it's a risk worth taking, or exposed. But like I said, it's a risk worth taking, and often times it leaves us being emotionally, and it involves sharing your true self and feelings, even if the feelings feels risky or uncomfortable. And so you have to put yourself in that uncomfortable position in order to receive that same type of vulnerability from the other person or your spouse. And I hope I'm making sense. It's pretty late. I'm kind of tired, but I really wanted to share that because I really feel that someone needs that. Someone that's afraid of opening up. Someone that is afraid of being vulnerable and expressing their true feelings. Someone that has hid behind a mask, that has a stoic face, and is really hard to be read, but and moves in a lot of ego. But I challenge you today to drop the mask, release the ego, and move into your vulnerability. You might like it. All right. So I just want to remind you to like, share, subscribe. Thank you to all of my subscribers. I love you. I appreciate you. I thank you for walking with me on this journey, this new journey that I'm on, and I hope to make everyone proud. So like I said, it's late here, and I just wanted to get that out because that has been on my heart all day to share. So yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my video, and we'll talk soon. Love you much.